So why does it matter? It matters because the themes of fish versus people, the sad tales of corporate growers not getting all the water they ever wanted, the Delta smelt destroying California agriculture, are stories spun and nurtured by the PR firm from hell. And they have been so good at it that the story of the decline of salmon and the human suffering that has caused was, until recently, the only story most of America was hearing. For months, the media bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
Water is in short supply, and 500,000 acres in the country's agricultural breadbasket are lying fallow.
Right here is 150 acres, and there hasn't been anything planted on it.
This is all fallow?
Yes, nothing has been grown on this year.
And because of that, his bank cut off his line of credit.
If you look carefully at the media coverage for most of 2009, you will find hardly any mention of the terrible tragedy that excessive overdrafting of Northern California river and delta water has had on people living in communities along hundreds of miles of the California and Oregon coasts. How families have been hurt, businesses closed, important revenue and taxes lost because salmon are at the edge of extinction.
You know, just like the guy on Hannity the other night talking about how all these poor fishermen are going broke because of this issue. It's just nonsense. It's the government that won't let them fish, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, the government paid them not to fish. And third of all, the government ran out the fishing industry out of the United States 30 years ago. Fact of it is, the only fishing industry we have in California is fishing for sport fishing. And those people are still going out. You can still go deep sea fishing out over in Morro Bay. You know, that's not a problem. You just can't catch salmon.
So we got angry. Being ignored is one thing, but being dismissed and trivialized is quite another, a situation that became our call to action. On our many trips through the Central Valley, we could see the Dust Bowl signs multiplying. Ironically, often right next to green fields being irrigated in 100-plus degree temperatures. We drove past hundreds of acres of newly planted orchards and vineyards, flush with irrigated water.
You see this over here? There's another 100,000 brand new trees. They just put these in. Oh, they might be vines. They just put these in, third year of the drought. They just planted them. Look at them all. My fleet's out of work for 2 years, and they're planting right in the middle of it. Man, look at them all.
Water needed for and taken away from salmon. On TV and radio, we listened and watched politicians and conservative commentators tell twisted tales about the impact of, by California standards, a relatively mild drought.
Welcome to the special edition of Hannity. We are live in the Central Valley in California. This is some of the most fertile farmland in the entire country and helps sustain the entire country in terms of food, and what has become ground zero in a battle between environmentalists and whether or not the farmers in the Central Valley here have water. Ladies and gentlemen, this has become a dust bowl. And
we started looking closely at the messages that big agriculture had been carefully nurturing. So we decided to do something about it. We took our video camera on a tour of the valley. We talked with farmers. We talked with reporters. We spoke with scientists, politicians, and coastal residents who the media ignored. We learned a lot, but what we did not know was how much we didn't know. You see, the decline of wild king salmon and the impact that it has had on people is part of a much larger and much more complicated and perverse story. They excelled at their craft. pillaging and plundering. It is a story about a relatively small group of powerful people with enormous wealth who have the rapt attention of powerful politicians in Congress and Sacramento. It is a story that seems to get darker and more twisted every day. It is a story that we think deserves a spotlight. We thought it was a story about the collapse of salmon, but it is really a story about the fight over California's soul: water, power, and the abuse of public trust resources. So we keep making videos. We keep pushing to make what is wrong right again. And before we leave you and begin yet another piece about what is wrong and how it impacts you, we offer a ray of hope. The tragedy of decades of dam building has had on salmon runs can be reversed. This is what the San Joaquin River has looked like since the government gave agriculture Friant Dam, a real dust bowl that used to be filled with hundreds of thousands of salmon. A more than 20-year court battle to bring water and salmon back to the river finally ended, and late in 2009, water started flowing again. It is a most positive step, and it is most certainly salmon water now.